Hey, everybody.
Thing right across. Yes. Hello, everybody.
Welcome.
Ian Tarot in the flying card trick.
It's a great start.
Don't try this at home.
It's dangerous. Dangerous. Very dangerous.
Magic.
All right. July 1st, Friday. It's our monthly tea and tarot that we like to bring you guys, show you different spreads, talking about the different cards, using different decks. I keep thinking they'll bring a different deck, but never do.
Never do.
Eventually it's going to happen. I'm working on it.
Don't you have access to a whole bunch of different
Yeah,
decks?
I do.
Yeah.
You get the right vibe, you know? It's like, I get it, like,
You get familiar.
like the last one I got, like the Cthulhu deck. I got the Cthulhu deck, and it was like, okay. Yeah, no.
This is a cool art deck to put on a shelf.
That's, yeah. And another thing with weird decks like that is to kind of see how the artist or the designer interprets the cards in lieu of this other vision.
Yeah, so that was a no-go. I was looking at the Apocalypse deck, you know, because it's very much like the Illuminati deck. It's very similar. So I was like, well, maybe that one. But I didn't. So here we are. So who's going first? Stevie!
Because it's you.
Because it's me.
Stevie.
So in what I guess is the continuing trend, we have another astrology themed spread. This one's going to be for Cancer season because that's where we're at now. And within astrology, Cancer deals with the home, your family life, depending on kind of what sect you believe, like, and you kind of work with. It's your mom as well. So this is a spread regarding the house and the home and how you can really look at its foundations and kind of where those foundations kind of naturally progress to within a tarot spread. It's pretty straightforward. The ones on the bottom here are going to be your 4 cards representing the foundation of the home, whereas the ones at the top are going to be the roof of that house. But this one you can read it either one card at a time and directly correspond them to the one above it, or you can kind of use it as a nice group snapshot of what's going on all at once. It's really a flexible spread, a really straightforward spread, and one you can kind of tailor to what's pragmatically going on within the home.
All right, let's see what's going on.
What deck are you using tonight?
I'm using the 1908 Rider-Waite Tarot, and only good things are happening in the foundation of this house.
Oh, jeez.
Well, let's see. We got this. Is that the Seven of Swords?
The Seven of Swords.
Oh, outstanding. That's like I'm able to see deception.
It's a sneaky house.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I'm not a Cancer.
Yeah, it's the same. So Godspeed, y'all, to the Cancers out there. So we have for our first card number 1. It's going to be the 7 of Swords for one of your foundations. Things might be a little bit low key, a little bit sneaky, a little bit hidden. There could be some subterfuge or some stuff that's intentionally kind of being left out of everyone else's point of view, hidden from them. It's a very sort of vibe to start off with there.
A little deceptive, shall
A
we
little
say?
deceptive.
All right.
And something that I do when I'm reading, and they'll probably can't see this, but the figure in the 7 of Swords is looking over their shoulder, and the way they're oriented, they're looking up directly at the card next to it. And I would bring those 2 cards together and see, what is this sneaky person looking at in this card next to it that maybe they're wanting to manipulate or deceive.
And don't also forget that, you know, in that 7, it's also sometimes taking back what was taken.
Exactly. So the ownership can be kind of questionable if you don't really have quite the idea yet. But what are you removing and what are you trying to keep away from or run away from or kind of pretend isn't there?
Run away.
Run away. The next card in our foundations is going to be the 8 of Pentacles reversed. Usually it's such a detail-oriented card, that really hard-working, really nitpicking the detail sort of card. But when it's reversed, it's kind of foregoing some of that very nose to the grindstone sort of feeling to.
It's like dereliction of duty kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's like,
on.
this doesn't need to be here. I'm done. This is enough. And kind of shirking off a little bit, sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. But given that our 7 of Swords is really looking back at that, it's just, well, this guy's busy or trying to appear busy. I'm just going to take away and move away from whatever's going on there.
No, I'm down with that.
He's busy. I'm out. We also have for our third foundational card the Fool reversed. Very stable house.
Yeah. No naivety there, huh?
No naivety, no self-awareness to clearly the other two tenets of our foundations and their goings-ons. The Fool is optimistic and joyful and is kind of oblivious to whatever else is going on here. He's doing his own thing.
Not answering that clue phone.
No. So there's a lot of detrimental energy going on thus far in the foundation. So lastly, we do have our nice little chariot to hopefully uplift things a bit. The chariot being very in control and in charge of that type of situation. There's a lot of that internal that's starting to work out a little bit. There's a sense of destiny, but in a I got my hand on it. I'm really aware of it and kind of charging ahead with it.
In light of the Fool reversed next to it, and again with the whole directionality thing that I use sometimes, it feels like it's almost like that Fool reversed has a sort of overestimation of their own stability or structure in that chariot stuff. So it's these are all together that I'm not paying attention. I think I'm too much on the ball. And the other thing that always struck me as interesting in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck is the Sphinxes, the Sphinxi are at rest. They're not moving. So that chariot, in the image itself, is immobile.
And within this kind of spread, as things are laid out, you have our Seven of Swords that's kind of looking back at that Eight of Pentacles and trying to scoot away stealthily. You have the Eight of Pentacles that, even if it's trying to shirk its duties, is still kind of enamored with them in that kind of getting out process. Meanwhile, the Fool is looking towards the chariot with like this kind of hopeful, like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I can move. I can kind of escape. And the chariot's kind of doing its thing. So you have like this very divided sort of house foundationally of these people are kind of focused on their things. These people are kind of way over here. So it's very like incohesive and just detrimental overall for a foundational house.
Yeah, definitely some work and some attention, and maybe being more present would be something that would be called for.
Everyone's very like focused in on their own individual lives, their own individual goals, and it's not great as far as foundations go. So moving to this kind of second half of the spread, you have the roof that these things are leading to. With that Seven of Swords, it leads up into our first card of the Two of Wands. So there's lofty goals. There's a lot of that kind of creative ambition, that ability to kind of look to all the possibilities and really kind of leisurely look them over and kind of figure out what feels good and what you can feel confident in.
The two of Wands, especially in this deck, has always struck me as being a planner's card.
Absolutely.
Because he's looking at a globe like he's planning his next
You literally
move.
have the roll in the palm of your hand.
But he's standing still. He's looking out over a vista. It's very much a planner's kind of thing.
And even though the Seven of Swords is looking back towards the rest of the spread, he is clearly moving in like this direction, which is the same direction that the Two of Wands is also looking out over as well. They're cohesive, if not with the rest of everyone else. They're at least cohesive with each other. So really looking to how these two cards are interacting. It's we had to kind of collect our means, mine or not, someone's, and kind of gather our wits about it, and then start moving in this direction, planning and enacting whatever goals we have in mind. As we move on to the second card, we have the Wheel of Fortune, and it's really looking like maybe shirking some of those duties with the Eight of Pentacles wasn't quite a terrible idea. There might have been a little bit of baggage, a little bit of overload. That Wheel of Fortune has that kind of positive connotation of luck and of things like the cycle's kind of going on an upswing.
And the Wheel of Fortune too, in this card specifically, has symbols for the four elements, especially in the corner and inside the disc. And that whole disc concept kind of feeds back into the pentacles. So those two are kind of tied together, and I think you're right. It's got a more of a allowing time to, and maybe rest is the thing, but allowing some time for some things to move and kind of click into place.
Sometimes when this one presents in certain contexts, like the Eight of Pentacles, its details are good and they're very important, and we do need to have that kind of good work ethic. But there is such a thing as working on stuff that just can't really move anymore. Like you have polished this little pentacle as much as it's going to be polished. It doesn't get any shinier. So really like letting it go and letting it rest and kind of do its thing for a second is a positive spin with the Wheel of Fortune. Next we have the Knight of Pentacles mirroring our Fool card from the Foundations. There's certainly plenty of movement. It's really kind of highlighting that there's a very rapid pace going on in things that might not be as cautious and careful. as it typically is. And given that you have the Fool being that foundational element of it, good luck.
It's
You're destabilizing just
and
a little
since
bit.
the Knight of Pentacles in this deck is when they're upright, they're standing still, and it has that slowness and practical aspect of the element of Earth. But as a reversed card, with all of that movement you've got going, what jumped to my mind was like trying to run barefoot on gravel.
Yeah.
You've got all of that instability there that may not make the journey.
Yeah. Especially that kind of over the Fool where you're already kind of just toppling off of this fun little cliff. It almost has that connotation of like trying to find footholds or handholds, but like, no, you're just kind of plumbing it anyway.
Rock climbing is not for them.
No.
More than once.
And then with our last kind of set of cards here, we have the Knight of Pentacles over the Chariot card, which is objectively kind of like one of the more positive ones we have in this grand scheme of things. That Knight of Pentacles is really looking at a lot of your labors, a lot of the fruits of your labors, and kind of luxuriating it a little bit. You worked really hard, it's paid off, and right before you kind of finish that final finish line with like the Pentacles, get a moment to just kind of rest and relax and look at all the things that you've done and kind of have some alone time to marinate in all of those things. And it's kind of indicative when you look at it with the Chariot of you kind of trusted where you were going and you really kind of let that follow through to its highest potential in a lot of ways.
Cool. I'm good.
Yay!
Yay!
So now it's Scotty's turn.
Yeah. So tonight I'm using the Hush Tarot. It's a deck that's new to me. So I do that to help keep me off balance and to make me work at stuff. And my spread's called the Millstone spread, and it's based off the idea that sometimes in life we end up with feeling like all of life is grinding us down. There's lots of things happening all at once, and everything feels like it's grinding us down. And this spread is to kind of give us some advice to kind of help us navigate that feeling, those feelings of being overwhelmed. It's intended to be more of a personal spread, not a sort of grand scheme of things kind of spread, but you could probably adapt it that way. And it's only 5 cards. I didn't do a big one this time. We've got the self, the home, the spiritual, or you could say psychological or personal development, depending on your approach to things, financial, and work. So we've got outer stuff and inner stuff. And you could even expand on this if, for example, you wanted to consider the home as in your actual home environment and you wanted to look at relationships outside that setting, you could use 2 cards in this location. So it's got a lot of flexibility to it there as well. So I'm going to start with all right. So for our self card in this deck, we've got the Lovers.
Oh.
And as I will tell some clients, the Lovers card is less often about sweaty naked people than folks like to think. It's often about connections on a larger scale, whereas the Two of Cups is often really the relationship card. And so this could be the kind of the advice for the self here would be working on inner connections, inner balances, getting back in touch with ourselves.
Relationship
balancing those kinds of things. And with the home card, we have the, is that wands? That's the wands? Yeah, 3 of Wands. It's the 3 of Spears, the 3 of Wands. And in this one, there's 3 crows that are winding a ribbon around these 3 things. The advice there could very well be that bringing things together, kind of tying things up. So tighten up that aspect of life. That's that home life. And then here on that spiritual side, we have the Emperor. Dum-da-dum. Another crow.
Soccer likes crows a lot.
Yeah, this deck's got a lot of crows.
Yeah.
And then there's a mousey and a little tiny pig-looking thing. Is that Piglet? Um, but with this one, it has human hands that are pierced by these swords or these structures. Um, with it being the Emperor card, which is usually about sovereignty or being in rulership over an area. The sense I'm getting from this is more on the animal, less on the human side of things. So this really feels like, as far as that spiritual side, it could very well have to do with getting in touch with those deeper aspects, which aren't the ones that live up here in our frontal cortex.
Is it very kind of like almost literally feeling things out and kind of putting your hands on them and maneuvering with them a little bit? It's very tactile card as opposed to a lot of other like Emperor's cards you typically see.
Yeah, sitting, almost reserved, but they're almost out of the picture. Where this one definitely seems like they're more involved,
Right.
more hands-on.
Right.
Definitely, with the thing he's going through.
He's a part of the kingdom, literally.
Yes.
And we have,
You said naked.
and yeah, I did say naked people. So this one is the Three of Cups. It's got that carousel feel, but so the Three of Cups often has that celebratory kind of nature. But there's the rabbit, which is often a symbol of fertility, and the goat, which do goat things. But it has that celebratory kind of sense. But both of these critters tend to be
Goats are very like hedonistic kind of.
Well, it's the whole pan, this
Yeah,
satyr
exactly.
kind of vibe to it.
And so with that, and this being the financial side of things, maybe take the opportunity to. It's not about pulling it all together, but sometimes it's okay to buy a new pair of shoes because you want them.
It's very much like the opposite of maybe like the Four of Pentacles, which is very fiscal and conservative, and like here the Three of Cups, it's more of like sometimes you gotta throw your money around a little bit.
It's abundance, it's celebration. Well, have a good time tonight.
Yeah.
So I may be buying a book later.
Cool. I got several.
And here in this last one, this is the work environment, and we have the Ace of Swords reversed. So that's not going so well. And the advice here may simply be to redirect and find a focus, because it can very much feel like when work's overwhelming us that we can't find our direction. What do you think?
What position was this?
This is the work. This is advice related to a work situation.
Probably definitely, if it's the ace there, it's that hard time maybe conceiving mentally, getting wrapped around what needs to be done, trying to get that start, almost like when you're in that mental phase of what do I do,
Your brain's kind of blue screen.
Yeah.
Brain scramble. You haven't quite got that. I got my plan. It's sort of almost that. What do I do now?
The Ace of Swords is typically so just like hard on point, just like kick it off, let's do it, and kind of be done with it. When it's reversed, it's just kind of like everything's scattered. There's a bunch of these marbles you have to try and like pick up, but you know where they are. They're
Trying to
somewhere.
herd cats.
Yeah.
I lost my marbles.
Good luck. That's why it's there.
All right. Is that it?
That's it.
Car spread. All right, Tracy.
I'm known for the big ones.
Yeah, that's true.
I did want to say one thing. This is just something interesting. I've never seen anything about it. It's called fanning powder. Magicians use it when they're taking care of their cards to allow them to shuffle more easily. And I have a couple of decks that really hate the Alabama humidity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this stuff, you don't use it all the time. You just treat it every now and then, and it really helps, especially with as cards get older and they start to hate the humidity more. Like a brand new deck probably doesn't need it, but
But since they have it in earth, then you might want to douse it.
and you sprinkle a little bit on there and just kind of make sure it gets all over the cards, and you just work with it a little bit to get the dust off. but this is not like talcum powder. So it's not going to absorb moisture from the air itself. So the cards won't get sticky or stuck together.
I'm going to get some of that. I want to see how it works on my deck. My other Earth deck will fall apart pretty quick. Because it's per card stock, so that may not prolong it.
Yeah, it might do. So it was just a thing to think about.
But a couple of things for the local people. I know we're in UK and some other places. Is that we do have a psychic fair coming up September 24th. Yay! From 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. We are already filling up slots, so you can pre-purchase. Our phone number is 205. Of course, I don't have to give the country code because, let's face it, if you're out of the country, you're probably not coming to it. So 205-453-4636 is our phone number. So if you want to reserve a spot, they are 10-minute readings for $15. Like I said, we're going from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And like we have Ellen Dugan's coming in, and she's going to be doing not only doing readings that day, but she's also doing a class the night before, which you can sign up to come for. So just give us a call, or you can email me, and we can call you, set it up. But that is something that's coming up fairly soon. It's coming up quick.
Yes.
2.5, 3 months away, something like that.
In 2 months.
Woo!
Yeah, I'm like, well, 3. Let's say that it's 24th of September. So it's the last weekend in September. Try to get in a little cooler, although the way the weather has shifted, it's not really that
Who
much
knows what
cooler
it's going to
anymore.
be? Yeah.
Especially this year. So those are things that we'll be doing. After that, you got a big event, the Witches Ball, and we're working on that. So that's going to be October 22nd. So that's a big event, a big Halloween party that we throw on and for the local community here. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
About 1,200 people. So it's a big event. And I'm trying to think of anything else that we got coming up besides Magic City Pagans will be the 4th Thursday of this month, and Tea and Tarot will be the 1st Friday in August. So just keep doing our thing. So
And like every time, I'll be going through and making a little graphical little diagram of these spreads and posting it to our book face pages.
yes.
And so you can look that up if you so decide.
And I will have a new deck next time.
Woohoo!
Well,
But
I'll
you're
do
committing
different
maybe to a new
cards, so I'll make myself do it. Even if I just got to bring them in, I'll do it then. Figure them out. All right, guys. Thank you very much. And from Stevie, Skaji, and my name's Mitchell, thank you guys very much for participating. And have a great night.